All right, another big development. The top Democrat on the House Intelligence Committee is accusing Republican Chair Devin Nunes of secretly altering that controversial memo before it was sent to the White House for review. President Trump could decide as early as today to make the memo public. He has 5 days, and if he does nothing, then it's up to Congress. Joining us now is Republican Congressman Peter King, member of the House Intelligence Committee. He has seen the memo, and he was one of the first calling for it to be released. Congressman, always good to have you on the show. So, is that true?
Thank you, Chris.
Did Nunes change the memo, Congressman?
Now, my understanding is, and this was agreed on beforehand among Republicans, there's one small part in the memo which in no way affects the substance of the memo, involves a fact which has been publicly acknowledged by everyone, but for protocol reasons, the FBI asked if that be taken out. I think it's 3 or 4 words. They're out. In no way does it affect the substance of the memo or anything at all.
If there was an effort to accommodate the FBI, why does that effort fall so short of doing what they're asking you to do, which is to let them scrub this memo, to let them come in? They'll talk to you about the FISA app that nobody has seen, even though everybody seems willing to judge it. Why not respect their requests and their expertise? If you were willing to do it on a small thing, why not do it on the bigger thing?
Well, let me correct some of what you said right there. As far as the FBI being willing to come in and also about us not having access to the FISA material, that's all because of the Department of Justice. They stonewalled us for months and months, refused to allow the committee to see any of that. They even went to the president to try to influence him to get us to stop it. They went to the Speaker of the House to try to influence him. The final agreement that was reached with the Department of Justice is that one member on each side, one Republican and one Democrat, and 2 staff members on each side would be authorized to look at materials. We had Trey Gowdy on our side. Devin Nunes intentionally took himself out of it so to avoid any further controversy. So Trey Gowdy, a seasoned federal prosecutor, he was sent in on our side along with 2 professionals who are experts as far as national security legal matters. They went in. They were the ones who analyzed it. They were the ones who wrote the report. So that's because the Department of Justice putting those restrictions on us from the start. That's why it was done that way. So when people say Devin Nunes didn't even read it, no, because he authorized Trey Gowdy. Only one person could do it, so he authorized Trey Gowdy, and that was at the request of the Department of Justice. As far as the FBI, we've been asking them all along, and they've refused to give us the information we wanted. Now, when the memo was made available to Director Wray on Sunday, he had a top person with him. They looked at it. They could find nothing wrong with it. But the next day, to be extra cautious, we had our 2 top investigators sit down with 2 top people in the FBI to go through it word for word. They could not find one factual discrepancy, nor one national security risk, and those are the facts.
Well, one, you already said there was a question of fact that you needed to adjust in the memo, but Christopher Wray is now going head-to-head with...
No, not Christopher Fact was wrong. No, Chris, not Christopher Fact was wrong because the fact was true. And it was not a national security, it was a protocol reason, which will be explained when it comes out. That is totally irrelevant to this. That you're being diverted by the Democrats. You're allowing yourself to be diverted.
No. Christopher Wray is no Democrat. And he's saying he has grave concerns about this. So the idea that he had no problems...
No, Chris, I'm talking about the last...
Go ahead.
He said, that's what he said now, afterwards. Now, 2 days later, now they say they have a problem. I'm saying he cannot find... His problem is with the conclusion, not with the facts, and certainly not at all with any national security risk. He's concerned with the conclusion, and our conclusion is critical of the FBI, and that's what this is all about, and they refuse to cooperate with us all along.
So his statement says material omissions of fact. Hello?
Yes.
So he has problems with the facts in the memo.
No. Here's a dispute. He says more should be. Anyone can say that, any report. When you're putting a report together and also doing it in a way so you're not going to hurt national security, obviously not every fact is going to be in. Every book that's written doesn't include every citation.
But if you cherry pick facts,
that anyone's ever said.
Why else would Trump's guys? These are his guys.
Chris, your word is cherry pick. Again, you're showing your bias, which your network has had all along.
But how is it a bias?
If you don't put all... You're Mr. Integrity, and we're not.
Hold on a second. I have you on because I trust you to give me this straight talk on this, Congressman. That's why I have you here. If I didn't trust you, you wouldn't be here.
I'm giving you straight.
But what I'm saying is this. Some facts are in.
And you use the term cherry pick.
All right. And here's why. Okay? And then
every relevant fact is in. Every relevant fact is in. Every relevant fact is in.
But that is a subjective standard. The man whose name is on
Absolutely.
the memo was investigated for potential ethics violations because of his deference to the White House and his collusion with the White House in the true sense of that word.
Okay, let's stop right there. Let's stop right there.
Yes.
Right, let's stop right there. And he was cleared completely. A complaint was filed against him by partisan Democrats. He was fully investigated and totally cleared. He was exonerated. Don't you believe in our system of justice? He was exonerated.
I
That's the
do,
whole
but
point.
it doesn't mean it's not relevant to his disposition. And he won't answer the question now of whether or not his staff worked with the White House. What about that?
I'm telling you that Devin Nunes, again, so to avoid controversy, he took himself out of it and gave it to Trey Gowdy, a seasoned federal prosecutor, who, by the way, who was 100% supports Bob Mueller. He supports Bob Mueller 100%. So Gowdy is not an anti-Mueller guy.
Okay,
He's the one who wrote this report.
Understood.
Primarily with the two investigators.
Understood. Nunes won't answer the question of whether or not his staff worked with the White House on this memo. Why? If he's Mr. I want to avoid further controversy.
As to what you discussed publicly, the fact is the White House never saw this memo until Tuesday. Let's say,
why won't he answer the question?
Monday night we had. I'm telling you right now, and I'm answering the question for you.
But why didn't he answer
it? Investigators. Again, we're in a public session that could lead to other questions which can involve national security. I'm telling you what happened.
Okay, go ahead.
I'm going to give you the fact. I'm telling you the first time the White House saw it is we had our people officially deliver it to White House counsels and the national security lawyers on Monday night at the White House. That's the first time they saw it. And that's the first time the White House saw it. As far as if anyone's going to the White House for influence, if the account is true that Rosenstein went to the president and went to the Speaker of the House to get them to interfere with our investigation, that to me is a violation of the examining.
Christopher Wray, picked by the President of the United States to be a cleansing agent. Rod Rosenstein, his choice to be at the DOJ, the man he leaned on in his case against Comey. Stephen Boyd, another man picked by Trump to be one of his own. They all come to him and say, this is reckless, dangerous, the wrong thing to do. Why would they all go against the man who picked them if they didn't have real concerns?
I'm aware of their concerns. I don't believe them. I think they're invalid concerns.
But how can you not believe them?
Because I've been working on this. Chris, I've been following this for 18 months. I've seen all the leaks that come out of the Justice Department, which nobody is investigating, criminal leaks coming out of the Justice Department against the president. I've seen false information given to the New York Times that goes on the front page. None of that has been investigated by the Justice Department. And I'm telling you that what is going to come out in the memo, and I told you yesterday when I saw you in the plane, I'm not one of these people who said this is going to shake the world. This is not going to turn things upside down. It's a very significant, though.
Steve King told me last night it's worse than Watergate. I said, have you seen this supporting information, the fact basis? No. Have you seen the FISA application that you guys are saying was done wrong? No. Worse than Watergate?
I'm not saying that. I've told you what I've said. I'm speaking for myself, and I think to speak for Trey Gowdy, who made these points the other day. There were too many Republicans who overstate the case. I'm not doing that. I'm very precise. I take this stuff very seriously. I was only one of 2 Republicans who voted against Bill Clinton's impeachment. I was the only Republican who voted against Charlie Rangel being censured on the House floor because of my respect for due process and precedent. I've stood with your brother against the entire Republican leadership as far as trying to get aides in New York. I almost got thrown out of the party. So I take this very, very seriously.
Congressman, I appreciate it.
What I've seen over the last 18 months is wrong.
I appreciate it. That's why I come to you in these situations. That's why I came to you yesterday for counsel on the situation. I, however, give you no cover for making a decision to align yourself with my brother. That's your problem. You deal with that on your own time. Here, I'm dealing with this bigger issue of... Here's my last question for you on this. You know what the concern is.
Sure.
Nobody has any interest in protecting the FBI. I'm in the media. I have spent most of my career looking at the FBI and what they do with a suspicious eye. The left, as you know, is known for going at the FBI in terms of its choices and its methods. So it's not about me being biased. I'm saying cherry-picked because that's what you're hearing from Trump's own guys who came to him about it, about their concerns about this. It's not about a bias. Everybody wants the truth to come out. We want the memo. We're journalists.
Right.
I want to see where you guys are coming from on this. But to go around the IC, here's the concern, Congressman. In the last couple of days, you've had two different Republican Congress people or former members come out and say, you know what happened to me? It was politically motivated. It's this deep state stuff. Menendez gets cleared, the reaction from some on the right. This is that deep state stuff. What's going to happen when Mueller comes out with his conclusions and all of this groundwork has been laid to give people an ability to say, you can't believe him? Then what happens to the administration of justice in this country?
Chris, two things. One, I've said over and over again, I support 99.9% of the people in the FBI. I have been a strong FBI supporter. I supported Jim Comey for many years. But my point is, when I've seen what's happening here, I was one of those ones who did want this to come out, because to me it is so significant and is so much at variance with standard FBI procedures. As far as things being leaked out, how many people in this country thought that Donald Trump, for instance, was under investigation himself? When Jim Comey went on national television, was talking about this investigation of the Trump campaign, but refused to say what all of us on the Intelligence Committee knew, that Donald Trump was never, ever the subject of that investigation. He refused to say that publicly. So the public thought that Donald Trump was under investigation. They thought there was something. I've been there watching this for 18 months. I have not seen one bit of significant evidence come out showing impeachment. If it's there, it's there. Showing obstruction or collusion. If it's there, Bob Mueller will come out with it. I've never said a negative word about Bob Mueller. But I'm saying there are parts of this investigation, including when it began, which I think raise very, very serious questions. And that's why I wanted this memo to come out.
I understand. And, Congressman, you're always welcome on the show to make the case to the American people. But you've known me a long time. I'm not biased. I'm going on what's out there, and there are grave concerns. I want the memo to come out. I'm a journalist. Right. I want to read it. I want to see where you guys are coming from. Take care.
Chris, come on. You came from the rich part of Queens. I know you.
Oh, please. I came from Hollis. 197th Street in Hillside.
I came from Sunnyside.
You came from where all the good-looking guys come from. That head of hair would have never made it where I grew up, Congressman. You would have been a constant target. Be well, and thank you for coming on. I appreciate you taking the opportunity.